In the year 3142, Earth was quiet. The wars were over. The planets had made peace. People were tired of fighting. Machines rebuilt cities. Soldiers were no longer needed, but one man still wore his armor dot. His name was Commander Rain. People called him the Steel Ghost. In every war he had survived. In every battle he had won. But now, in peace, he felt lost. Rain lived alone in a small station orbiting Jupiter. No friends. No visitors. Only his old warship, Shadowlight, and the silence of space. One night, while checking old signals from deep space, he heard something strange. A voice. Faint. Soft. Broken by static. But real. He's coming. Please. Help us. We're not safe. Rain paused. He played it again. It was a woman's voice. Not human, but close. There was fear in her tone. Desperation. He increased the volume. They found us. I have the child. Please, then silence. No coordinates, no name. Just a signal lost in space. Rain leaned back in his chair, staring at the stars. Thousands of signals passed through every day. Most were trash, echoes. Machine talk, but this one felt different. He felt something. A memory. Long ago, during the war, he had met an alien medic who saved his life. Her name, he had forgotten. But the sound of this voice, it was like hers. He opened the ship's map, traced the signal's origin. It came from a planet on the edge of known space, Xylan 9, a dead world. Marked no life detected. Nothing had been heard from it in years. Rain stood up. Without warning. He powered up the Shadowlight. The engine screamed. Lights flickered. For the first time in years, the warship came alive. The autopilot asked, "Destination?" He typed in, "Xylan 9. Everyone else ignored the voice. But not him. Not HFY. The journey took 3 days. Space was dark and silent. Stars watched as Rain slept in his chair, hand on his weapon. When the ship entered orbit around Xylan 9, everything went wrong. Gravity sensors failed. Lights flashed red. The ship shook violently. Warning, unknown force pulling the ship down. Rain took control. He fought the controls, but it was too late. The Shadowlight was crashing. Impact. Darkness. When Rain opened his eyes. He was no longer inside his ship. He was lying in grass, under a green sky. Trees with glowing leaves surrounded him. His armor was cracked. His rifle was gone. He stood up slowly. Pain in his chest. Blood on his forehead. Then the voice again. This time, clear. He's near. We can't hide forever. Please. If someone hears this. Help us. Rain turned in every direction. No one. Only jungle sounds. Strange birds. Distant. Roars. He tapped his wrist. The comlink was dead. No signal. No location data. But the voice kept playing, like it was in his head. He walked through the forest. Carefully. Step by step. Suddenly, he saw something in the grass. A small device. A recorder. Old alien tech. He picked it up. It played the same voice. But this time, one more line appeared on the screen. To the soldier who still remembers, I know you will come. Rain's heart froze. How'd she know? Before he could think, a rustling sound came from behind. He turned quickly. Eyes. Shining. Yellow eyes watching him from the shadows. More than one. Moving fast. Rain reached for his belt. Only one blade left. The creatures jumped out. 4-legged beasts. With skin that shifted colors. One opened its mouth. It copied the woman's voice. Please. Help us. Rain didn't hesitate. He fought. Silent. Precise. Like in the old days. The beasts were fast. But he was faster. After minutes of blood and growls. He stood alone. Breathing. Hard. Around him. Silence again. He looked at the recorder. Still glowing. Still repeating. He is coming. Please. Help us. Rain knew now this was not just a trap. Someone was really calling him, and he was not the only one listening. Asterisk it. Should have been night, but the sky had no stars. Rain opened his eyes. He was lying in a jungle, but something was wrong. The colors were strange. The sky was black, but not from night. Alive. A thick fog hung in the air like it had weight. Leaves shimmered like metal. Trees twisted like they were watching him. He had crashed, but survived. That was impossible. No ship survives a crash from orbit. Yet here he was. Was this planet protecting him? Or playing with him? He stood slowly, pain in his leg, a crack in his helmet. One arm still bleeding. His ship gone. Only the recorder in his pocket kept playing the voice. He is near. I can feel him. Please, if someone hears this. He shut it off, not because he didn't want to hear it, but because something else was mimicking it. From deep in the forest, he heard the same voice, the woman's voice coming from 10 different directions. Please, help the child. Save the child, but it wasn't real. The tone was wrong. Cold, mechanical, like an animal wearing a mask. Suddenly, a tree near him moved, not from wind. It shifted shape, revealing hidden eyes and a long snout. Some kind of camouflaged predator. Rain didn't wait. He grabbed a broken metal pipe from the ground and ran. After hours of moving through dense, glowing forest, he found a structure, ancient, half buried in the ground. Black stone. Symbols, carved in alien language. This wasn't human. And pushed the door open with effort. Inside, it was cold, silent. It looked like a small temple. Or maybe a control room. Dust floated in the air like slow snow. On one wall, there were screens. Old alien monitors. One of them blinked with blue light. Weak but alive, he approached. Carefully, a voice spoke. Deep, old, tired. Visitor. Finally, a small AI orb floated up from a platform in the center. Cracked. Faint lights blinked inside. You're not from this planet. Rain nodded. I came for the signal. Then you're already part of the game, said the AI. She sent it for you. Or someone like you, a protector. Who is she? A rebel? A mother. A mistake to those who rule the stars. The AI showed a projection. A woman, silver skin, glowing eyes. And beside her, a child, small, quiet. But the child's eyes were human. Rain stepped closer. She was real. He whispered, yes, but hunted by the ones who fear what the child will become. They call it the hybrid. A threat to their empire. The image flickered. The woman holding the child, hiding in a cave. Soldiers chasing her. Shadows with red weapons. Rain clenched his fists. I need to find her. I beeped weakly. The jungle listens to your thoughts the longer you stay. The louder your memories become. Move quickly. Suddenly, a sharp sound outside. Metal on stone. Something was climbing the temple walls. I turned red. They have followed your crash. They were waiting. You must go. Rain turned to leave. But before he could move, the wall near him exploded. A massive alien stepped in. Tall, armored, part machine. Red lights glowed from his chest. His weapon aimed straight at Rayn. The hunter didn't speak. It just moved forward, slow and deadly. Rain threw the metal pipe. The hunter blocked it, but Rain used the moment to grab a plasma core from the AIS base. The AI screamed, nitrogen monoxide. That's unstable, Rain smiled. Exactly. He threw the glowing core at the hunter and dived. Boom. The explosion shook the temple. Rain rolled outside, coughing from smoke. The jungle screamed around him. Animals howled. Shadows scattered. He limped into the trees, heart racing. Behind him. The temple burned, but the voice in his pocket whispered again, soft. Alive. You're close. He's coming. Please, Rain. He stopped. She said his name. How? He looked up at the starless sky. Something above the planet was blocking the stars. A ship? A fortress? Or a living shadow? He saw heat, not light. Blood, not color. The hunter had no name. No face. Only a mission. From high above the planet, he dropped through the clouds like a black knife. Target, Commander Rain. Secondary target, alien woman. Final priority, the child. In the jungle below, Rain moved fast. He had no map, no signal. Only the recorder's voice, now silent. The night was quiet. Too quiet. No birds, no wind. Even the glowing trees stood still. Rain knew what that meant. He was being watched. His breath slowed. Every step was soft. His ears listened for movement. A crack, a breath, anything. He felt it. The air changed behind him, thicker. He turned fast. Too late. The first hunter dropped from a tree like a ghost. Metal claws, no face. Red eyes. Rain blocked the attack with his arm. Pain shot through him, but he moved like a soldier. He struck low, broke the creature's leg, rolled, and stabbed a blade into its chest. Sparks flew, but more were coming. From the shadows, 3 more hunters stepped forward, each one bigger, faster. Rain ran, not out of fear, out of strategy. He led them deeper into the forest. He reached a fallen alien ship, old, broken, but useful. Inside, he found old tech, energy cells, faded weapons, even a cracked shield emitter. He took everything he could carry. The hunters entered. Seconds later, but Rain had a surprise. He pressed a button on the wall. An old fusion coil lit up. The explosion lit the sky. The forest shook. Trees fell. The hunters burned. Rain walked out through smoke and fire, coughing, bleeding, but alive. He followed a trail, strange footprints, small and light. Not 100 feet of the child. He was close in a quiet valley below. He saw a crashed escape pod. He moved down carefully. Suddenly, a voice behind him. You survived. Rain turned. A man stood there, tall, lean, scarred, human. Rain raised his blade. Who are you? I'm like you, the man said. A soldier, but smarter. I work for the winning side. Rain didn't respond. He just watched. The man continued. You're chasing ghosts, Rain. That woman, she's not what you think. That child is dangerous. Rain stepped forward. You've seen them? The man smiled. I helped hunt them. Rain attacked. The fight was fast, brutal. Blade against blade. Fist against armor. The man was trained. Ex-military. Fast and cruel. But Rain was built for war. He broke the man's jaw with a single punch. As the man fell. He whispered, it's not just about the child. It's about what's inside him. Rain grabbed him. Where is she? But the man laughed, blood on his teeth. Too late. He's already waking up. Suddenly the ground shook, not like an earthquake, more like a heartbeat. The sky above shimmered, not from clouds, but from a cloaked ship descending slowly. Not human. Not friendly. The Prime Empire had arrived. A low voice echoed from the sky. Bring us the child, or burn. Rain looked at the sky. Then at the burned hunter. Then at the escape pod. Now open and empty. Only one thing was inside. A small drawing. A woman. A child. And him. Asterisk. He didn't know his name. Only the cold. The child sat inside the cave, wrapped in old cloth. His fingers were blue. His breath was white smoke. But he didn't cry. He just stared into the ice. Inside the walls, he saw shapes moving. Creatures. Memories. Or maybe dreams. He had powers, but he didn't understand them. All he knew was stay hidden, stay quiet, wait for the man with fire in his eyes. That's what his mother had told him. Far above the cave. Rain climbed through freezing winds. His armor was cracked. Blood froze on his cheek. His fingers were stiff, but his eyes sharp, focused. He had followed the child's trail into the mountains. He didn't know how the child had survived the cold, but he could feel something pulling him, a connection. He reached the mouth of the cave. It was narrow, glowing blue. Wind howled behind him. The entrance looked like a mouth made of ice. He stepped inside. The cold swallowed him whole. The deeper he walked, the stranger things became. The cave wasn't natural. The walls were too smooth. The symbols too perfect. Alien carvings ran along. The floor glowing softly, like veins, and the whispers. Rain. He's watching. Turn back. He heard voices from his past. Friends who died. Soldiers he couldn't save. A woman with silver eyes. His heart raced. His head hurt. But he kept walking. Further in. He saw it. A flicker of firelight. Someone had made a small camp. He moved. Slowly, blade ready. Then he saw them. The woman, the child. They were real. The alien woman. Tall. Tired, her skin pale blue like the ice, turned as he stepped closer. Her eyes widened. Rain. He froze. Sierra. It was her. The medic from the war. The one who saved him. The one he thought was gone. She stood between him and the child. He dropped his weapon. I came for you. I followed your signal. Tears filled her eyes. I didn't know if it would reach anyone, but I hoped it would reach you. They embraced. For a moment, the war was gone, but peace never lasts. Outside the cave, the mountain shook. Rain pulled back. I found us. Sierra nodded. They've been searching for years. Now they're close. She looked at the child. He's stronger than they know, but he's still just a boy. Rain knelt beside him. The boy stared at him, calm, silent. Rain smiled. The boy looked into Rain's eyes, and suddenly Rain saw something. A flash, a vision, a great machine breaking. Planets, a throne made of bones, a man with no face, and the child, standing against him, glowing like a star. Rain gasped. Sierra touched his shoulder. Now you know why they want him. Suddenly, a roar echoed through the cave. Metal boots. The hunters had entered. Rain stood. Get them out of here. I'll hold them. Sierra shook her head. You won't survive. He smiled. I've done worse. He turned to the boy. Go with her? Live. The child touched his hand. And for a second, Rain felt warm. Then child and Sierra disappeared into a side tunnel. Rain waited in the dark. The first hunter entered. Rain attacked. A brutal fight began. Ice shattered. Blood spilled. One by one, they fell. Rain kept going, even when his arm stopped working, even when he couldn't see straight, because behind him was something worth saving. A new future. In the end. Only one figure stood over him. Not a hunter, a man, cloaked in shadows, wearing the mark of the Empire. His voice was cold. You protected them. Brave, but useless. He raised his weapon. Rain, weak, bleeding, smiled. You're too late. Behind the man, light exploded. The cave shook. Sierra and the child were gone. Rain laughed, even as darkness took him. She remembered the smell of blood. Not human blood. Not hers. His. Rain had been dying that day. Shot in the chest. Lost behind enemy lines. His people had left him, but she didn't. She was a medic, an alien healer from a dying world. The war was not hers, but she saved him anyway. He never asked why, and she never answered. Now. Years later, Sierra stood in the snow, watching the mountain collapse behind her. Rain was gone. Again, she felt the same pain. But this time, she had to keep walking. Because beside her walked someone more important. Her son. The child didn't cry. He didn't speak, but he kept holding her hand. They moved across the frozen plains, her cloak wrapped around him. Her breath came fast. Her body was weak, her skin turning pale, but she didn't stop, not until they reached the hidden outpost. A small alien shelter buried under ice, left behind long ago by explorers who never returned. She opened the hatch. The warmth inside felt like returning. They entered. The door closed behind them. For a moment, silence. The child sat near the heater. Sierra touched his face. His skin was cold, but his eyes burned. Not angry. Not afraid. Just awake. She stared at him. So small. So silent. So powerful. And still, he smiled like any child. Sierra sat down and took out a small device. She tapped a button. A glowing image appeared. a man holding her in his arms. Years ago on a battlefield, Rain, alive, smiling, younger, before the war broke him. She showed it to the child. That's your father. The boy stared at it, confused. Then reached out and touched the light dot. It glowed brighter. The image moved, became clearer. And then the light spread across the room. Suddenly, the walls melted away. The outpost was gone. Sarah gasped. They were inside a memory. But not hers. His. The child's. They stood on a hill. Below them. A city burned. Ships fell from the sky. Soldiers screamed. And standing at the center of the chaos was the boy, older, brighter, powerful. His body glowed like a star, but his face was full of sorrow. Sierra turned. The child stood next to her, watching it all. What is this? She asked. The boy didn't answer, but Sierra understood. He had seen the future. Suddenly, their vision changed again. Now they stood in front of a black throne. A man with no face sat on it. His armor was alive. His hands were metal. And his voice was death. The child belongs to me. Sierra grabbed her son, but the image shattered. Like glass. They were back in the room, back in the shelter. She was shaking. The child looked up at her. He didn't speak, but his eyes were full of questions. Sierra held him close. I won't let them take you. Moments later, a sharp knock hit the door. One knock. Then silence. She stood up slowly, her weapon in hand. A voice spoke on the other side. It's me. It was Rain, barely standing, covered in blood. One eye shut, arm broken. She pulled the door open. He collapsed into her arms. Later, after she healed his wounds, they sat together, all three of them. Rain looked at the child. The child looked back. No words were needed. Rain finally spoke. He's stronger than both of us. Sierra nodded. That's why they fear him. Rain looked at her. And what about you? Do you fear him? She shook her head slowly. He saved me, over and over, without even knowing. A pause, then Rain said quietly, he's not just the future. He's the war. Sierra touched his hand. Then we train him. We teach him who he is, before they do. Outside the shelter, the snow stopped falling. In the sky above. The Empire's ships hovered like shadows, waiting. The time for hiding was ending. The child stood between them, quiet, watching. Then, for the first time, he spoke. His voice was soft, but it echoed through the room like thunder. He's coming. Asterisk. They thought it would be easy. Inside the command ship orbiting above the frozen planet, General Varn stood with his hands behind his back. He had served the Empire for 300 years. He had destroyed planets, burned cities, watched empires fall, but never had he been told to fear one man. Commander Rain, the soldier said. He's alive. Varn didn't blink. And the child, still with the woman, hidden, were closing in. Varn nodded once. Then send everything. On the surface, black ships rained down from the sky. Armored soldiers marched out, hundreds of them. Cold, precise, merciless. They moved like machines, because most of them were cyborgs. Hunters, enhanced warriors, each one designed to kill. Their target, a shelter in the snow. Their orders, no survivors. Inside the shelter, Rain stood near the entrance. He was bandaged, limping, breathing hard, but his eyes were sharp again. Like in the old days. He looked at Sierra, then at the child. You know what's coming, he said. Sierra nodded. We'll hold the back tunnel, but they'll come for the front. Rain checked his blade, his weapon, his armor. Everything was damaged, scarred. So was he. Then I hold the front. The snow fell in silence. Then the first soldier appeared, followed by 10 more. Then 20. Rain stood alone in the white field. No speech. No fear. No backup. Just one man, one mission. Protect them. They charged. Rain moved like a storm in human skin. He spun through the soldiers, blade flashing. Steel against steel, sparks, blood, screams. They tried to surround. Him. He broke through. They tried to trap him. He set fire to the snow. They tried to crush him. He smiled and kept going. From inside the shelter, the child watched through a small screen. His mother held his hand. She didn't speak. She didn't need to. The boy saw everything. He saw the man who didn't run. The man who chose to stay. The man who stood alone. For them, Rain was bleeding now. Tired. Surrounded. But he kept moving. He used their own weapons. He pulled power cells from their bodies and turned them into bombs. He turned snow into smoke, ice into traps, silence into terror. They called him a ghost. Now. They believed it. Inside the command ship, General Varn watched in silence. How many did he kill? The officer replied. Almost 100. Alone. He'll die eventually, Varn said. They all do. But his voice was quieter now, almost unsure. Back on the ground, Rain dropped to one knee. His vision blurred. The last hunter raised its weapon. Rain whispered, "Do it." But before the shot came, the sky changed. Everything stopped. The snow began to rise. Not fall. The light turned golden. And from the cave behind him, the child stepped out. The last soldier aimed at the boy. Rain tried to scream, but he had no voice. But the boy wasn't afraid. He lifted one hand, and the soldier froze in place. Then dropped, like his power had been sucked away. The child walked through the field of bodies. Quiet, calm. He stood in front of Rain. Rain looked up, confused, weak, cold. "I told you to stay inside," he whispered. The boy kneeled, touched his hand. Rain's wounds began to close. His breath returned. His strength came back. And for the first time, he truly saw the child's eyes. Not just human, not just alien. Something else. Something ancient. Behind them, a deep roar came from the mountains. The Empire's final weapon had awakened. A machine the size of a city. Its lights blinked red. Its voice shook the sky. "Target locked. Prepare for final strike." Rain stood up beside the boy. He looked down at him. "You're the weapon now." The boy looked up. "No," he said quietly. "I'm the shield." The child dreamed of fire, but it wasn't destruction. It was memory. In his dream, he stood on a mountain of stars. Around him floated broken pieces of time, moments that hadn't happened yet. He saw a war that hadn't started, and a voice that hadn't spoken. Then a figure appeared from the flames. The Emperor, but not just a man. A being older than Earth itself. Woven from metal, bone, and silence. The Emperor's voice was not loud. It didn't need to be. "You are mine." The child opened his mouth to answer, but no sound came. Instead, the fire inside him burned brighter. And then he woke up. The ground trembled. Above the frozen valley. The Prime Empire's war machine hovered. Its size blocked out the sky. Thousands of weapons pointed downward. Inside the machine, General Varn watched coldly. The child is exposed. Fire when ready. But as the energy cores powered up, something strange happened. The snow around the child began to rise again, floating in the air like dust in slow motion. Then. So did the soldiers. The machine's scanners glitched. Target unreadable. Warning, gravity failure. Rain stepped back. He didn't understand what he was seeing. The boy was no longer just standing. He was glowing from the inside. The child looked up at the war dash machine. His eyes were full of light. Not hate, not fear, just power. Then he whispered. Not loud, not angry. Just a single word. Stop. The entire machine froze. Every engine. Every weapon. Every pilot inside. Frozen in place. Not dead. Just. Still. Like time had been paused. Rain gasped. "How are you doing this?" The boy turned to him. "I don't know. But I remember it." Sarah stepped beside them. "He's not just the next step, Rain. He's the balance." Far above, inside the Emperor's throne chamber, alarms blared. The Emperor stood, for the first time in 1,000 years. He felt something close to fear. Back on the ground, the boy walked forward. Each step left behind a faint trail of gold. Rain followed. Weapons ready not to fight, but to protect. Not the child. The world from him if it came to that the massive. Machine began to power up again, fighting back against whatever was holding it. It fired a super beam, bright as a sun, aimed at the boy. Rain yelled, "Get down." But the child just raised. His hand. The beam split in half, turned to dust. Vanished. Like it had never existed. The child looked up at the machine. "You were built to end life. I was born to protect it." He closed his eyes and everything went quiet. The sky lit up. Not from explosion, but from light. The machine collapsed without a sound. Not broken. Just empty. All systems shut down. All soldiers dropped their weapons. War was over, not with fire, but with peace. Later, as the sun finally returned to the sky. Rain sat with the boy near the remains of the war machine. He looked at the boy, now just a child again. Small, quiet, soft-eyed. "Are you all right?" The boy nodded. "Just tired." Rain smiled. "You saved us." The boy looked up. "I didn't do it alone." He reached out, held Rain's hand. Sierra stood behind them. Watching. Silent. Proud. In the distance. The Empire's last ship turned and fled. The stars opened once more. Rain looked at them. Ben at the boy. "What happens now?" The child replied, not with power, but with peace. "We rebuild." 1 week late in the old fields of Xylon 9. The first seeds were planted. Alien, human, machines, hybrids, all working side by side. The war had ended. New era had begun, not because of weapons, but because one boy, part human, part alien, chose not to destroy, but to forgive. Final scene. Rain watches the boy playing with other children under the stars. Sierra stands beside him. "He'll be a symbol." Rain nods. "No, he'll be a choice." One warrior started the journey. One child ended the war.